And whether you like it or not, and no matter how many boulders you put on top of it, no matter how many dead ends you go down, no matter how many distractions you get into, and this is brought out beautifully in the movie Zardoz by John Bruni, no matter how much technology you build, no matter how many walls, no matter how many vortexes, no matter how many lies, no matter what you do, that entalpy is going to continue. And no matter what kind of psychic dictatorship, global village, silicon revolutions you create, you cannot stop that process because it's way deeper than thought. It's way deeper than mind.
It's deeper than emotion. It's something that is emoting the emotion.
These are only the branches and flowers of something infinitely deeper. Heidegger put it this way. He said that thinking is one step later than being. You have to exist before you can think. I mean, in one way, it's a no-brainer. But unfortunately, even the greatest philosophers spent hundreds of years trying to work and never got there. And then he said, then reason, which is an attribute of thought, is one step later again. So how can reason, and how can even thinking, know the mysteries of being? It's like a 3-year-old knowing its mother has a personality and a love life and a youth and all these interests. The child is incapable of understanding that. It's just not possible. So all the scientism, all the religions are attempting to use reason, and I'm not against reason, I'm actually an advocate of reason, but within a practical sphere of influence. I also know where reason's limits are.
Yes, and not to the exclusion of the being.
Right. What has happened is that women, men have been forced to conform to very impractical forms of reason, and to split. Then we have another split: reason and emotion, mind and heart. Once you've started one dualism, it just keeps going forever until you come back to the fundamental understanding. So getting back to what we were talking about, this negentropic intellectual movement cannot be altered. Big Brother and anyone who buys into that mode of thought, in other words, anyone who shares their psychopathy, is deadly afraid of it. And I'll tell you why. It's because before you can have a chemical wedding, you must experience a chemical divorce. It's the opposite of normal life. First you get married, then you divorce. Right? This is opposite. In spiritual terms, everything must die before you can inherit her. You're going to meet Shiva before Shakti bothers opening the door. Right? Religions go, that's a bit of a problem. I know. We'll don ourselves up as Shakti. We'll have all of her trappings.
To somehow bypass that necessary step.
Yes, to create
the illusion that we can bypass that step.
And I believe now that's becoming, it's not my belief, it is becoming unsustainable to everyone, all over the world. And so their gig, they're trying to think, what are we going to do now? We're going to have to sell out and move shop, Age of Aquarius and Age of Awakening. Oh, damn, we might be out of business soon. So in came the New Age. In comes a bunch of other bogus spinner-rack stuff. In will come a regression, like we talked about earlier, to hardened forms of religion. Yes. Because when the softer, more egalitarian forms are all against religion. But once the egalitarian models start weakening, there's a fear reaction, as we've seen. And then you have Big Brother will bring out a champion like George Bush or Obama, with a big smile on their face and a big stick behind their back, to make sure that they egg you on to conform or collectivize in yet another way. My work deals a lot in all these elements that make you collectivize. So the chemical divorce is part of the package of spiritual evolution. Shamans knew this, the elders, the Druids knew this. We talked about the Druids before. One of their ideologies was that you have to die to everything before she will come to you. Now, who is she going to come to first? Well, she's a she, so I would assume that the feminine is in closer ontological proximity than the masculine. The masculine is going to give it as well, but in this spiritual hippies with hierarchy, but whatever, in this continuum, the feminine is the most receptive. If you study the 20th card of the Tarot, Aeon, it's also called Judgment in the Rider-Waite deck. And if you also pull out card 6, known as the Lover, you'll see something very interesting. And that is there's 3 figures, a woman, a child, and a man. And each time it's the woman's head who's looking at divinity, and the man is looking at the female. In both of those cards, divinity is either blowing a trumpet or, in other words, bringing down spiritual energy. And in the mountains in the back or whatever, the woman's head is the one above. She is the divine mediator. Remember we said, what is it the woman's duty was, etc., etc. She is the mediator or conduit for that knowledge. What has happened since the advent of the patriarchal religion is that's been cut off drastically. They murdered witches, they murdered anyone, any elders. In my country and others they did it. And they stopped that flow. And then let's just focus again and look at it psychologically, and it brings me right back to what you were talking about. if woman is, if the female and the feminine, and let's embrace also say the woman is the conduit for this divine revelation, and it will reach the male masculine mind. However, the message for this age right now is that the woman first has to fill her own chalice up before she can.
To really truly embody the feminine once again.
Yes, because once you say conduit, well, that's just sort of like neuter thing. Oh, I'm just a conduit. No, no, no. It's a conduit, but first you must be imbued in it first. So in other words, women are now the first one to be tested by guess who? First. The nameless one. So the thing that you're noticing in the women is the beginning of women being recalled back. Demeter is calling Persephone out of the underworld. He's saying, remember the job? Stop filing the nails. We got job, we got work to do.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that again, right? So the awakening of the feminine, which is the after they find the Grail, the world comes to life again, right? But look at the much death and winter had to go through before they inherited it again. And the chalice is the keeper of who? 3 maidens, right? So here we go, but I believe that the call goes out to the feminine and includes them. Right? The feminine man is included, right? But to the female as well. Therefore, if the females of the world are found wanting, as they possibly may be, then we have a problem. We have to resolve that issue. That's another thing to look at. But if all goes well and women preserve ancestry start looking at answering this call, and they're able to work with, then comes in the kind of energy that is required, you see, to build the roots, the foundation. Pluto excavates and gets rid of all the dirt and all the rubbish and all the nonsense, but then you have something to fill, you have a hole to reseed. That's when that feminine, liquid, natural energy needs to flow. It's not man's job. I said in the talk, women bring children, boys and girls into the world, men prepare the world fit to live in for those children. So we have different roles, different dynamics. Feminism blurred all this on purpose. They made a carrot to make it, and I'm not doubting them, women did need that level of empowerment.
Well, there was a strengthening that had to occur.
I've read, I've studied them for years. I mean, I'm a big fan of Camille Paglia and people like that. But the thing is that I always sensed that behind it was a deeper, darker agenda.
Yes.
You know, and this, from this dark poison higher up, using certain women who are from these royal families to teach the women give them a carrot, so that ultimately a greater, darker evil could be done, which is to turn off the female from her spirituality, so that she ceases to be this conduit. Because they're ahead of us. They know what's happening. They know what's coming. They know that the Pluto is coming to that energy to excavate, to deconstruct, and then they know that where's that liquid, vital, mercurial, silver energy going to come from, right? This has been spoken about in umpteen films as well. The nucleus of the sun and the moon. There's many ways of language in this. In the yin-yang symbol, in the white is the black, in the black is the white. You know, a nucleation.
Yes.
Almost saying, well then what is blackness and what is whiteness? It's an incredible thing. The whole idea of all magic, all ritual, all yoga, all spirituality was a nucleation. The priests got in. The Buddhist is false. It's all false. Just masculinization under another name. Hinduism, you know? Christianity, look at Islam, look at Judaism. I can show you chapter, line, and verse of their hatred of women, the denigration of the female, and also of the feminine, while they're walking around in flowing robes. With the long hair.
Usurp that role also.
Usurping it, absolutely. They did it in the goddess. The Druids were entirely wiped out because of this very purpose. In fact, I mean, if we get into it, there's many great stories that even predict that this was going to happen. So what now has to be the message is the woman has to learn how to turn inward and embrace and integrate all that dark, allegedly dark energy that they're feeling. They have to marry it.
Yes.
They have to let it flow over them, on it, right?
And this includes only the wildness of that uncertainty because these feelings have to go to a different level than how they've been integrated before.
Right, but what happens if the architects of control step in and go, no, we know how to canalize it. What we want from you is more man-hate.
That's
Feminism 2.0.
Yes.
Oh, gee, it's going to happen again. What are we going to do, pal? What are we going to do, guys? Then they say, well, we just deflected like we did before. Women playing men. We will not show you the object of your hate. It's your father's again. And then the whole vicious cycle will start again. But more than that, women have learned to hate themselves. The whole media, the cosmetic stuff is designed to put these absolutely unbelievably, actually they're psychotic, but on the surface they look gorgeous and wonderful and attractive and famous and glitzy, and then the woman can't meet that model or whatever it is, the false model, and then they beat themselves up. So there's self-sadism there. Like I said, oppression and repression.
Yes.
You're repressing yourself, then there's oppression out there. And all this is to do is to stave off the real chemical wedding so that the religions, the corrupt Saturnian, Solar, Martian institutions remain as powerful as they've always been.
No Pluto?
They don't want Pluto. Pluto represents the entire meltdown of their entire fabric.